nerds, what's up? We are back again to cover all of the differences between show and book for A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms episode 2. As a reminder, this is intended to be informational, not critical. With that, let's get into it. I feel like a lot of you guys are going to be happy about the kinder flashbacks this episode. Like I said last time, we obviously don't see flashbacks in the novellas, we just kind of hear about him. I think Dunk likely did view Sir Arlen a little kinder than he actually was, put a little polish on it, but I think last episode people were worried that it made Sir Arlen look too mean, but I anticipated and said this in the comments that we'd probably see more flashbacks with a kinder view, and I was happy to see that I was right and we did not have to wait long. He doesn't ask a Tyrell if they remember Sir Arlen, he just goes right back after their first rejection from the last episode. Look, I'm not saying the book is subtle, but this scene did make me laugh. Like, they were like, let's be sure to zoom in. This convo with the Kingsguard is longer in the show than in the book. He kind of just meets them briefly there. So he doesn't actually sneak in like this in this episode. He's walking down the hallway and hearing this combo the entire time and just kind of walks in. And then they're like, who's this bursting in on us? And Baelor is like, oh, this is the night our steward is expecting. We're the ones who are intruding. So it's like Dunk isn't as imposing as much. And so that means there's also no convo with the daughter beforehand. But he does realize, like, as he's walking, like, I probably shouldn't be hearing this conversation, and feels awkward about it. So Dunk doesn't ask Baelor if he remembers Sir Arlen. Baelor actually offers it himself when the steward tells Dunk, like, well, you got to have someone who vouches for you. This isn't enough. And he just immediately speaks up. So that is different. Otherwise, it's a completely dead-on scene. I already mentioned this last episode, but again, she's the actual puppeteer, like holding strings in a traditional puppet in the book. So the tug-of-war scene doesn't happen. Probably anything with Baratheon isn't in the book because he's not really in the book. Okay, so this is what I mentioned last episode, how I said things were moved around, but likely they would be in this episode, and I was right. This armorer scene and then selling his horse happens before all the other stuff chronologically. It would have happened in episode 1 pretty early on. And he also has an entire horse haggling scene where, like, he's haggling with the person to get more coin. So that's cut here. And then because that actually happens earlier, there's also this scene that is in the novella where Dunk comes back without the horse, and Egg's like, oh, you sold your horse. And Dunk's like, how'd you know that? Maybe it got stolen. And Egg's like, you would have been really mad if it got stolen. So there's like a little scene between them about selling the horse. Okay, and that's it. It's amazing, like, how fast this goes because the episodes are just so dead on. Now's the time where I get to offer my opinion on the episode. And, like, guys, I liked this episode better than episode 1. I don't know if that's going to end up being a popular or unpopular opinion, but I loved this episode. Vibes impeccable. They adapted the scenes so well, and I feel like the things they added were things that felt added to the themes of the book and to the characters in beneficial ways. Like, I really actually quite liked the conversations around the Kingsguard, and I feel like the tug-of-war scene worked really well. And obviously it's not going to be a play-by-play. I guess I should have mentioned this earlier, like a play-by-play with the jousting in the book, but obviously it's a lot more interesting to watch jousting than read about it. So I anticipated that for the show, and I think it's great. I think that's always a very fun scene to watch. I just really felt like they got into the flow in this episode, so I thought it was so good. I also think the guy who played Arion literally looked perfect and had the perfect vibe. Like, he walked out of the pages of the novella for me. Like, I think he nailed it. I was so happy with that casting. I actually liked the Kingsguard stuff so much. It, like, made me question, does that happen later in the novella and I'm just totally blanking? I don't think it does. I don't think he has that conversation about them being crabbers, but, like, let me know. I'll pin it. But I don't think it happens. And I loved that conversation with him and Egg. And he's like, yeah, they used to call me stupid. And he's like, or what? Like, the whole dynamic was great. I really liked how they're setting things up. And I think it's really capturing the vibe. I guess the only thing I'll say is I think it's interesting that they have Dunk ask Baelor instead of just having him offer it. I do think it does slightly change the connotation in terms of, like, Baelor is the kind of person who would just speak up about it. He wouldn't have to be asked. That is being like, I don't even have a problem with it. I'm just saying that is the only change where I was like, that changes the connotation slightly, but not in a way that I actually think, like, affects anything. So the only thing we need to talk about is the full frontal nudity at the beginning. I personally choose to not watch shows with full frontal nudity. Let's be clear here. Things I am not saying right now, because yes, I have to explain this because people always choose to willfully misunderstand me. I am not saying shows with full frontal nudity shouldn't exist. They totally can and have the right to exist. I am not saying people shouldn't watch them. that's your business. I am not saying this show shouldn't use it. I'm not a showrunner. They seem to know better than me about a lot of things. They get to decide. I am not telling them what to do. All I am telling you guys is me, Bookborn's individual preference, which is that I do not watch shows with full frontal nudity. It does not spark joy. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. This is all I statements. This is just me personally. I was frustrated because unlike the last episode where I at least had a reasoning for the stuff that I didn't love, this episode, it was like similar to the poop scene, even though at least that one I understood. This just seems like the lowest bucket humor, and I didn't think it was necessary. That is my opinion. If full frontal nudity continues in the next episode, I will be stopping the show. That is going to make a lot of people angry, and I'm sure I'm going to hear about it. It is just a personal preference. I don't want to see it, and so I will choose for myself not to see it. You guys get to choose, like you all get to choose for your own lives. I know I just explained that too long, but you would not believe the kind of comments I get when I like to talk about personal preferences. I feel a little frustrated because the episode was so good, but ultimately, like, I always will have the novella. I don't need a show. So if it continues to do things that make me really uncomfortable and make me not enjoy watching the show, I'll just not watch it. I will say in terms of like crassness, I remember last episode I said that the vibes felt off, not that I was offended by like the coarse language. I actually think in this episode, the balance was hit way better. I don't know what the difference was, but in this case, I felt like they really used the coarseness to better effect, to show the differences between Dunk and the world, or like what's going on. I know people said they theorized that was what happened last episode, but it just felt clunky. Whereas this episode, it felt seamless and I didn't notice it, even though like when I'm thinking about the differences between the book, I notice it's there. So I think that's also why this episode worked even better. Like I loved episode 1, but I think episode 2 worked even better because it captured for me more the vibes of the novella. And so yeah, overall I thought it was fantastic. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts below on if you liked episode 1 or episode 2 better, what you thought about it. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next week. If you like these kind of videos, please like and subscribe. That is the best way to support me. And if you want to see what I'm currently reading, as well as my in the dark reviews right after I watch an episode, you can check me out on Instagram at bookborn.reviews. I'll see you next time. Bye.